What's up everyone, this is Gungjo and I'm back with another video, this time focusing on the most recent Battle Armour event in Apex Legends. Specifically, I want to talk about what I like and dislike about this event so far, and whether I think Respawn should consider bringing any of these changes over to the main game. So let's talk about some of the changes. First, I think something that's actually quite a small change is the fact that we all spawn with a P2020. In most of the matches I've played, this really doesn't make a huge difference. If you're forced into an off-the-drop 1v1, then dueling with 2020s is a bit cleaner than a fistfight, but most of the time you're going to die if a guy has any other gun. I mean, it's 2 mags to down someone even if you're hitting every shot, and landing every shot is no easy feat. I think the idea of landing with a weapon would ideally address some of the off-the-drop inconsistency. If you look at Call of Duty, where you also land with a pistol, you can actually kill someone with that gun fairly confidently. Maybe not head-to-head against someone with a full auto, but if you get the drop on someone, it definitely has the kill potential. The P2020 does not. Getting hit by this thing feels like someone threw a rock at you. It's a nuisance, but unless your opponent is willing to fight you with a P2020, it's not going to land a kill. But despite the P2020 feeling weak, I don't think this is a problem. Spawning with a viable gun would drastically alter the metagame and see players running much more aggressive drops than they already are. The fact that P2020 barely affects anything in the game is a good thing. Where it does help a little bit is if you're stuck in a scenario where you need to help your teammate and you don't have a gun. If you don't find a gun at the start of a game and your teammates get stuck in a fight, it often feels like you can't help until you find a crate with a weapon inside. And as we know, sometimes that's harder than it sounds. It's not uncommon that I feel like I'm running around like a headless chicken, desperately trying to find my first weapon before one of my teammates gets killed, or I start getting shot at. I mean, I'm still doing that now, but we're just that little tiny bit less reliant on finding a gun right away. Technically, we can still help a teammate out or deal enough damage that someone backs away with the 2020. But I think that Respawn still need to address some of these issues with the loot distribution. Giving the 2020 off the drop feels like a band-aid to a bigger problem with the loot in Apex Legends. It's not a huge issue, but it'd be nice if you could find something more usable with a little bit more consistency. Running around multiple rooms or bins only to find nothing but barrels and ammunition, only for someone to eventually put you out of your misery, it's not my idea of a good time, and it's not entirely uncommon either. Still, the bigger change and the focus of the event is how the shields have been altered. You're spawning with a white shield in this event, and that's the best shield you can get in the match. You literally can't find blue, purple or gold. This is due to a change at each stage of the event, with all blue, all purple, and then all elite shields happening at different phases. I think that having a shield off the drop is a positive change. It increases the very early game time to kill, so if you get shot at shortly after drop, you still have good odds of being able to come back from that. I think the fixed white shields also help address another issue in Apex Legends. I think there's been a problem in Apex for some time where the quality of your armor can be a stronger determinant of the outcome of a gunfight than player skill. Sometimes this can be a good thing. Those unfair advantages can help new players feel like they have a chance, because no matter how many times they lose, there's always a chance the next game will favour them better. But in Apex, we have what seems to be fairly strict skill-based matchmaking. My matches are often packed full of Diamond and Predator players, for instance. I'm not seeing terrible players in my games. What that means is that the people I play with are often of similar skill, which can be fine, but if skill isn't widely variant, then loot you have becomes much more impactful. If you put 2 players of the same skill against each other, one of them has a purple shield and one of them has white, then the chap with purple is going to win that encounter fairly consistently. Yesterday I had a scenario where I bumped into a lifeline early on in the game, only to hit her up close and she had purple shields. Breaking her shields with my magless R99, I pushed forward to finish the kill, only for her to open a supply bin and pick up another fresh purple shield, and then proceed to down me with her own 99. I just shrug those moments off right now. It's part of the game, so I adapt and play around what we have, but if we look at moments like that, are they really good for the game? Are they fun? And do they feel fair? The difference between purple and white or no shield might sound like a worst case scenario, but you do get those scenarios between white and purple pretty often, especially in the early game. Those 50 HP advantages and disadvantages happen all of the time. Sometimes my entire team will land on purples, and other times in the same location will struggle to find a set of whites. So dropping everyone with all white shields and offering no potential to upgrade is a big equalizer. It makes the game feel consistently fairer. It helps you to be aggressive too, because you know that your opposing team isn't hugely better kitted than you. So long as you have a useful weapon, you can push a fight without reservation. For me, I also play with a lot of players who just aren't very aggressive, and a huge part of that is that they always want to be better kitted out before they fight. They walk around the edge of the map and it feels like I'm trying to drag them into a fight all the time. The prospect of maybe finding purple armor is too enticing for them to want to push into the gunfire in Capital or any of the other hot zones. So just having white armor really helps with that. They feel more confident and fight ready much more quickly in the game. This probably helps when playing with randoms too. A big issue is that players have different agendas. One player is trying to get as many kills as possible, the other player is trying to get the best loot they can, and those two playstyles really clash. Not having armor to look out for puts both of those playstyles a little closer to one another. Slower paced playstyles have less incentive to run around the entirety of an area, checking every bin for the potential for a body shield upgrade. This might not be in line with everyone's opinion, but I really think that Apex Legends is a better game when it's fast and aggressive, and letting players feel comfortable to fight faster only helps with the pacing of matches. But the addition of white shields isn't without its pitfalls. Another big change is that these shields bring in is that they drastically reduce the time to kill in the mid and late game, where players usually have all blue or purple armor. It might seem that it'd only be a 25% reduction compared to purple shields, but it's actually a lot larger than that. The reason for this is that with white shields on the enemy, it's far easier that you'll down them in a single magazine. That means far less fights see a reload or weapon swap happening in the middle of them. This reduction in time to kill also significantly reduces the skill ceiling for many of the weapons in the game. Landing 200 damage on an R99 is very difficult, at least on console. Most of the players just don't one mag people, they don't down people with one mag with the R99. But with everyone on white shields, suddenly a player with fairly subpar accuracy has a much higher chance of downing you. It's roughly the difference between requiring around 70% of your shots to hit in order to down someone with an R99 and only requiring 50. That's huge. This lower time to kill reduces the game's skill ceiling, and right now, I think the mechanical skill ceiling is the big differentiator for Apex when compared to other VR games where the time to kill is much lower. At the moment, it just feels like Apex is balanced for player HP to reach at least 200, and because the Battle Armor event restricts your shields but doesn't restrict your mag sizes, higher mag sizes consistently shred through white shields. Aside this issue, I think spawning with a shield benefits the pacing of the matches and helps the initial drop feel a lot fairer. Perhaps with a higher capacity shield such as a blue or purple, you'll see the skill ceiling on these guns like the R99 returned, but with all the benefits of not having to worry about your shield RNG every game. The other factor is that the loot is just a little bit less exciting. Opening a vault used to be worthwhile because of the prospect of getting purple and gold shields. Sure, the mags and helmets help, but they're not all that interesting. You often find these elsewhere anyway. If we see static shields in play, I think Respawn really need to do something to spice up the loot. Not something that players feel dependent on, like they do with body shields at the moment, but something that makes spaces like the vaults feel rewarding. Perhaps adding a larger variety of golden guns into the game could be more interesting, and have these spawn in the vaults. But that's my 2 cents really. I do really like how the shields affect the pacing of matches, and I think they make the initial drop fairer. However, I do think that the 150 HP on the white shield lowers the skill ceiling a little too far, especially with guns like the R99. The upcoming Evo Shield portion of the event is particularly exciting though, and it'll be interesting to see how everyone spawning with Evo Shields affects how everyone plays. If I were to guess, it'll encourage more people to fight each other, but at the same time, players will be trying to take lower risk fights early on. More fights might mean more fun, but seeing teams set up shop with charge rifles in the distance is likely to end up being pretty frustrating. If you give everyone Evo Shield, you might also see some mutual shield boosting across teams, where both teams are content just poking, with neither team wanting to push a fight until their shields are fully upgraded. But we'll only know when we get to experience it, so let's wait and see. This has been Gung Joe, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
You are the Apex Champions.